What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Jimmy Does Coasters. Today I'm talking about something I've been excited to talk about for a while because I think about this a lot. These are the 5 things that Six Flags Magic Mountain could change instantly, relatively, and super cost effectively, relatively, in order to immediately improve park experience. Now, I just want to clarify, because these are supposed to be changes that are very cost effective and very immediate, they are not going to be changes to completely overhaul a roller coaster or things like that. There are some roller coaster changes on this list, but I'm not talking about add this roller coaster or repaint this roller coaster. I'm talking about if I was hired to be the manager at Six Flags and I had a month to change things without much of a budget, what would I do? All right, I'm going in order from least crazy or least necessary to most necessary, but they're all pretty awesome and I think they would all be really fun ideas. Now, first up, we have the area over by Scream. This is Steampunk District. I think that's a cool name. I like the theming of the old and new combined stuff, but the area between Twisted Colossus and Scream is very empty. Remember, in this series, I'm not talking about huge changes that need to be made. I'm just talking about something that Six Flags could do this week or this month for a relatively low price. Just go put something over by Scream. Whether that's change the walls by Scream to have something more steampunky, or have some interesting coaster stats around the world posted on the walls, or this fun one. I don't know if you've ever seen those like Lou Goldberg type ball machines that would fit perfect in Steampunk District. I don't know how expensive those are. I'll edit it into the video later. But you could totally just add one of those down by Scream and have some other random gadgets that are just constantly going. I think that would be a super fun addition to the park. You know, it might not be the most perfect looking area, but it'll be a lot better than it is now, because right now it's just Scream and not that many people go down that way, and it makes me sad. Next up, this is also a revamping of an area, and this is obviously Samurai Summit at the top of the mountain. I've heard rumors that after Six Flags finishes their inverted motorbike suspended swinging launch coaster, whatever it is, that the next project in 2028 and on will be to revitalize the top of the mountain, which will be awesome, because with Superman closing and the elevator up to the observation tower and museum being closed, there's really nothing up there. You could maybe count Tatsu as being up there, but I'm saying if you climb all the way to the top of the hill, the only thing you're going to be able to ride is Ninja. And Ninja's a great ride, but it's just sad all up there by itself, and it's probably pretty lonely. You know, if Ninja could talk, it'd probably say, please, give me some friends. Again, we're talking about cost-effective and immediate things. Obviously, my first thing would say, open up the observation tower, but I know that can be a multi-million-dollar job if you need to redo the elevator. So what I'm saying is there are some restaurants over on the way towards Superman that aren't being opened. There's stores that aren't used because no one really walks around up there. Why don't you just open that and have that kind of be like a coaster history lounge until you reopen the observation tower, right? You could have plaques with every record that Six Flags has ever broken, or a timeline with a history of every roller coaster that's ever been in the park, or park maps from throughout the years. There are a lot of people that appreciate history, and if you can just open up a room and then just kind of, I don't know, make it a lounge where you can just hang out and look at history until that observation tower is open, it'll be awesome. I think if you want people coming back to your park, you need to make them fall in love with your park. And part of the way you make them fall in love with your park is get to know your history and your growth and your story. Knott's Berry Farm does a great job of that. They have a place where you can sit down and watch a documentary video about the history of Knott's Berry Farm and its founders. And I can watch that video and say, holy cow, this was started by a man with a dream, and I want to support that dream, you know? I think Six Flags could do something like that in one of these empty stores between Ninja and Superman. Number 3 is a fun one. I think this could be a really good idea. I could see it being a tough transition, but I'm going to say you can do this in less than a month if you put your minds to it. Change your operations so everybody who goes in and out of Six Flags Magic Mountain, if they want, gets one free picture at the park entrance. They already have everything in place. They already have people at the park entrance taking pictures with professional cameras, and then afterwards they give you a QR code, and if you scan that QR code, you can get a direct link to your picture. The only thing is you have to go up to the photo booths at the end if you want to buy the picture and get it without the watermark. What I'm saying is if people want to buy on-ride pictures or pictures with characters and Looney Tunes and superheroes at the park, let them do that. But why don't you just change the system a little bit so every picture taken by the people at the front of the park is just free, which means You can scan that QR code, it'll open up on your phone, and there's no watermark. I'm thinking you could, every picture starts with like a letter A or B or C. You could just make it, whoever takes a picture at the front of the park, every picture starts with the letter A or E for entrance, and everything that starts with E has no watermark. Imagine how cool that would be. First of all, there's that feeling of when you walk into the park, you're like, wow, they gave me something that they didn't need to. And I love that. When I went to Six Flags Fiesta Texas for the Mardi Gras parade, they gave us these little bead necklaces that cost maybe like 5 cents per person, if that, right? It cost them very, very little, but I didn't sign up for it. I didn't ask for it. They could have not given it to me, and I would have had a good experience at the park. So immediately I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. And my attitude about the entire park is better because they did something bonus. I think that's what you can do with pictures. And on the second part, other than them just being like, oh wow, we got a free professional picture, think about all the people that are going to post more often about their experience at Six Flags Magic Mountain. It's a professional picture in front of the sign or something. That's very easy to put on social media and say, my family and I had a great time at Magic Mountain. I think being generous pays dividends, and I think there's a great example of a place where you can be very generous and lose very little money. Okay, number 2 is one that I'm really excited about. Maybe a risky idea, but I think it would have more benefit than detriment. Just let everybody into the park who's 65 and older for free. If you give free entry to everyone who's a senior, at least for payment purposes, I think that solves a lot of problems. For example, if you go to a theme park, it's super crowded. It feels kind of exciting because there are a lot of people in the park with you, but then you have to wait forever in the lines and it's really annoying, right? So it's a bittersweet thing. But then if you go to a park and it's ghost town, I don't think the park feels as exciting because you're like, oh man, no one's really appreciating it and it's kind of sad. But then you get to walk right onto the rides. So that's also bittersweet, right? If you let people in who are 65 and older, think about it. How many of those people are going to go and ride your biggest roller coasters? Probably not that many. How many of those people are going to go and buy meals? Probably quite a bit. How many of those people are going to say, hey, children, I get into this park for free. Why don't I take your kids, my grandkids? I'll buy them all passes, right? Like I said, generosity pays dividends. I think this is an excellent example where you can be generous in a way that doesn't have any immediate cost to you because you're letting people into the park who maybe wouldn't have come anyway because there's not much for them. And also, you're just giving back to your community. I think you've found a way that doesn't hurt your park where you can enhance your community by letting the locals come and just enjoy the park as much as they want. I did think of the loophole where someone could get in for free and then get the all-season dining pass and then just totally rob Six Flags, eating there every day, and they lose a lot of money on food. So in order to make up for that, you say you can get into the pass either without a ticket or you can have like a senior ticket for food, but you need to have a season pass in order to have the meal plan. So if someone's 65 and older and they're like, oh, that's great, but I want to have the meal plan, they have to buy the season pass too. And it's not a way of robbing people. I think it's just a way of saying, look, we're giving this thing for free, but we have to set it up in a way that's not going to completely bankrupt us. I think it would be super awesome to fill your park with people who will enjoy the scenery and the environment. And that's what you need at Six Flags. Six Flags is a place that has enough people that ride all the thrill coasters, but no one really enjoys the scenery and environment of the park. If you want to get that back, start by inviting the people to your park who were your biggest fans 20 or 30 years ago. All right, last up on the list at number 1, we have something that people have talked about a lot, and I'm just going to beat this dead horse. We got to make Twisted Colossus race. This is probably more complicated from an operational standpoint, but actually is not too bad. Like, first of all, if we're talking cost-effective and immediate, yeah, it's kind of complicated. Because I was thinking, why don't you just alter the roller coaster to have the second train stop? And for those of you who don't know, Twisted Colossus is an RMC hybrid coaster. They are side-by-side trains that race. And it's amazing. You do inversions over each other and high-five turns. When it races, I think it is the best roller coaster experience in the world. I'm going to say that. When it doesn't race, it's still a great coaster, except you're just frustrated because you're angry at the people, either the guests that took too long or the ride operators that don't care, and because of that you don't race, right? The reason this is a problem is it's not your standard racing coaster where there are 2 entrances. There's only 1 entrance, and after you do the right side of the track all the way through, instead of returning to the station platform, you loop around into the left side of the track and run the left side of the track. So if you want to race, you have to load fast enough that by the time the first car is finished with the right track and onto the left track, the car on the right track is already lined up with it. I've ridden it, and honestly, in the last multiple years, I haven't raced a single time, which is really sad. You could have it stop at the chain lift on the second chain lift until the other one gets out there, but then you have people sitting in the sun for a long time or the rain. So I think you wouldn't really realistically want to do that unless you build some sort of shed or something to put them in, and you will probably want to have some sort of theming or video so they're not just sitting there. But that seems a little bit more complicated than I'm trying to do for this video. Another option is you have lockers outside of the queue, so people don't have to step across the trains, put their stuff in the bins, and then step back in. I think that's also a great solution because you save the time of people going over to the bins, but that's also maybe more of a complicated addition than for this video. They're both very simple relatively, but I'm trying to go even more simple. My solution to make it even better is you have an added tier of ride operators. So you have ride operator level D, the kiddie rides, ride operator level C, mid-tier like family rides, ride operator level B, or maybe level A. So they sound awesome, right? All of the major thrill rides, these are the ride operators that can operate all these thrill rides. And then you have ride operator gold, which is a special bonus promotion that says you have shown that you're a standout employee with a lot of enthusiasm and heart and whatever, and also you're very capable and very good at working with people. Like, you're the kind of people that we would consider to be a team lead in the future. Those are the people that you promote to gold, and those are the only people that are qualified to work at Twisted Colossus. I don't care if it's in the queues or pushing the buttons or tightening harnesses or anything. I think if you just say, hey, there's a special tier and maybe we'll pay you $3 more an hour or something when you're working this ride, I think you'll have the best people in the park all allocated in one area, or people stepping it up because they know this is a special privilege to work that ride and not just a right. I honestly think it's an operational thing. If you have operators who are on the ball and trying, then I think you can do it. And I think if you have a separation between the Twisted Colossus operators and the rest of them, I think you can speed things up pretty quick. And the last thing is you can have someone track how many times they raced a day and maybe put the percentage of times a train raced with at least one car and like post it to your social media every night or something to give a sense of accountability. Because it is frustrating to me that it is advertised, you know, on every banner they have Twisted Colossus racing over the hill. And obviously they'll advertise that because that's the experience people want, but you can't advertise that if that's not the experience people get, right? So I think if you're accountable and then you reward the sharpest workers in the park with working at Twisted Colossus, then I think you can really turn that around. And the reason I put this at number 1 is Twisted Colossus on its own, without racing, is a great coaster. It's really fun. I enjoy every ride. Still probably my favorite ride in the park, or one of them. But when Twisted Colossus is racing, that's a ride that people will travel from far and wide. That's a ride that people who live close will come and ride to ride more often. Without the racing, it is a really fun ride. With the racing, it's a popular tourist attraction that single-handedly drives up your park attendance. So I think that's got to be your number 1 priority going into the new year. Alrighty, folks, that's all for this series of the 5 things that I would improve if I had to do it instantly and cost-effectively to improve park experience at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Let me know. If there's something else, all these cool creative ideas you have, go ahead and post them in the comments below. Maybe I'll add them into a video talking about it. I think this is a really fun thing to think about. You know, if you were just in charge of the park, what would you do? How would you save it? How would you improve it? And if you want to see more things like these about other parks that I've been to, go ahead and hit subscribe or like, and so you can see them as soon as those videos come out. Thanks. This is Jimmy Does Coasters, out.